Welcome to Solo Shot First, and today we are going to be having a look at the Clone Wars and the Nikto Guard from obviously Star Wars The Clone Wars, which is part of this sort of galactic battle game. Now, I've never really had any sort of interest in the game, but the figure itself, obviously, I was sort of quite keen on getting. And actually, I picked this up relatively, I suppose, not that long ago, really. Because I thought this would actually just be a super figure to sort of have in, well, either a palace diorama or certainly something sort of on Tatooine. So I'm not too sort of keen on these cards, although the actual artwork on there's quite nice. And obviously they do have a sort of slightly different look and feel to them, I believe. But quite a nice looking front of the card. Let's have a look at the back. So the back of the card's pretty good in terms of the actual look. You've actually got a look of the figure, how it would be out of the packaging. And it does say, I think, this character's name, although obviously it's got their Nikto Guard in that top left. It actually says Puko Naga, I believe that's how it's pronounced, is a Nikto Guard in Jabba the Hutt's palace. So there you go. So perfect for that. And down obviously in that bottom right-hand corner, you've got some other figures that were sort of part of this sort of Clone Wars series, if you like. So we'll have one final look at the front of the card before getting this open. So, as I said, the figure inside the bubble looks pretty cool, actually. And the cards, as I said, not too worried about that. So, without further ado, let's get this figure out of the packaging and we'll have a look in more detail. Okay, so here we've got the figure itself out of the packaging. And first impressions, it's quite a nice looking figure. I mean, it comes obviously with that lovely stand that it's on, and obviously it's got a decent peg hole, so that fits in quite nicely if you like using the stands. The one thing obviously I would say in terms of the sort of the sculpt, the head obviously does appear to be sort of slightly smaller than obviously the other sort of Nikto species we've had, but I think that's just obviously because it's sort of part of this sort of Clone Wars wave and how the figures were done. In terms of the articulation on the figure, there is no articulation in the legs or the ankles or the knees, so it's a sort of a traditional sort of 5 POA from the bottom half. But there is obviously a swivel, I think there, just above the waist. Yep, that's still quite stiff, but that's no problem. Articulation, obviously, at the head. Excuse me, making a right mess here. Articulation at the shoulders, at the elbows, and a swivel in the wrist. So, pretty decent articulation. Let's bring this figure in so you can get a better look. That is a pretty decent head sculpt, albeit obviously on the slightly thinner side. Paint application wise, it's got decent paint apps. I mean, obviously he's just sort of wearing this, everything appears to be sort of grey, a dark grey boot, sort of a lighter grey cargo pants. The sort of wrap around the waist is that harder plastic, hence probably why they've not given you articulation really in that lower half. But I wouldn't be particularly worried about that on this type of figure. This is really, again, for me, just another sort of goon if you want to put into a palace diorama. So he will fit in quite nicely there. From the sides, obviously he does have this sort of slightly brighter silver tints on a couple of places. I think on both elbows, or should I say on the front there, and on the other one on the elbow. But yeah, not a bad looking figure at all. Some quite decent detail around obviously the back of the head. You can see that. And as I said, from the front, the head is very, very good. Other than the fact obviously that it's a little bit smaller. However, pretty good. In terms of the accessories that you actually do get with it, you get this helmet, which is a very soft plastic, which is quite nice. You can pop that over the top. Let's pop that on and see how that looks. That makes him look pretty cool. And then you do get this sort of large rifle, which is a sort of a, I don't know how you'd class that really. It's almost like a grey silver, but it's a very, very soft plastic. But a nice touch. And then this sort of blaster that you see a lot of, similar to a lot of the ones that you see obviously that people have in Jabba's palace, although that appears to be quite big, a little bit larger. But nevertheless quite a decent blaster. And then, of course, you get this the battle game details and the information on the Nikto guard about his force ability, battle skills, intelligence, etc., etc. But I've never really been into that at all, so I wouldn't be interested in that, being perfectly honest. It was more about the figure. So, pretty decent figure. Sort of semi-limited on the articulation, but I think that's fine with this figure, and some nice blasters that come with him. Overall, you know, it's a good figure. It's nice to have another figure to put into your palace dioramas. And if you can get this, obviously, at a reasonable price, then it's worth picking up. Anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this video. It's just a quick one today. If you have, please hit the like button. If you're new to the channel and you want to subscribe, please do. There'll be plenty more videos coming shortly. If you've got any questions, any comments, please leave them in the comments section below, and I'll come back to you as soon as possible. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.